Folks, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. I have a gentleman here. First time meeting him. I've been getting some information about this new super group. Mr. Todd Strange, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great. The band is I Am, and I guess relatively new, but not necessarily new.
No, it's fairly new. I mean, we just got together what a few months. Yeah, a few months ago.
Okay, so talk to me about the band. You guys are just you're ready to release. I guess it'll be your first single in a
Right.
few short days. Tell me about the band.
Consists of Kenny Hickey from Typo Negative, Silver Tune, uh, and other bands. Also Johnny Kelly, who's pretty much the drummer of every band around,
Uh-huh.
and Kirk Winstein and myself.
So I guess without the whole cheesy questions. How'd you guys get together? I mean, a band. I'm going to assume being I guess parts of different organizations and different bands. You would have known each other, but how did this finally come to be? Where you said, you know what, here's the time we're going to put this together and start making it a thing.
Actually, a good friend of all of ours, Andrew Spalding. He started his label, Corpse Paint Records, and he was actually friends with all of us, and he's actually the one who put us all together, flew us all into Florida, and we recorded this one song, and then a few weeks after that we went to New Orleans and did a video, and then yeah, now it's getting ready to be released.
So now it's interesting because yourself and is it Kurt or we're members
Yeah.
of Crowbar.
Yep. And down.
And so, I don't know how you feel about the term super band. I mean, that's what's being made in your presser, but is it a super band to you guys, or is it just a bunch of guys that are getting together trying to make some music that, kind of scratches that itch?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know if it's a super group. I mean, some people may view it as that. I mean, actually, I mean, we didn't know what the hell we were going to get when we did this thing. We just all agreed to get together and where we all had time. And yeah, I mean, it turned out a lot better than I think any of us expected going into it. Um, it's different than anything that any of us would do. So, I mean, I'm sure some people are not going to like it. Some people are going to love it. But I mean, it's we all enjoyed it. So
Um, I listened to it a number of times, and I listened to it about 10 minutes ago again, just to kind of get boned up. And there were some references to the term that was used in your presser, sludge metal or grand metal. And then Beatles with a kind of a Black Sabbathy, I guess, reference was another term that was used. I don't know if this is what you guys were going for, but I was hearing a little bit of King's X in there, kind of in the underground, the odd time signature where it's slow, but it plays against lyrics and vocals. I mean, I don't know if that's something that was maybe in there too.
uh not consciously. I mean,
Okay.
but hey, we'll take it. I mean, they're a phenomenal band, King's X. You know. As a matter of fact, that's one of my favorites. I burned that Dogman album out.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that particular album up because that's what I was kind of hearing, that riffy, kind of
Yeah, but
moody sort of vibe.
yeah, but I mean, they got that whole Beatles feel too. So I mean, I just think it's from we all grew up on an era of music where that was really relevant. In the music style. With the Beatles and um, the harmonies and all that. I mean, it may not be as pretty as King's X's harmonies with Kirk and Kenny singing, but I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of bands don't do harmonies anymore these days. I mean, rock bands, I mean, they're non-existent, really. You know, everybody wants to throw you in a category. Either you this, you that. But think about it. When's the latest rock band that you heard? A true rock band. I mean, sure, we're gonna have elements of Crowbar, we're gonna have elements of Typo Negative, but I mean, it. We all grew up listening to the same old like metal, the British metal and the Beatles, and it's just our age group. I mean, we're all in our 50s, so maybe like grandpas and stuff.
Well, I mean, pretty cool grandpas, because I mean, I know my grandpa wasn't listening to that type of vibe, but um, I guess when I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it, and again, very cool, moody, but then you have this singer who he's got this range that is, I guess, a little, well, it's a lot more in depth than a lot of what you're hearing now. I mean, like, most the range guys, when I grew up, and I mean, I could show you albums here, Dio and Bruce Dickinson and Glenn Hughes. Those are the guys that I listened to. And then you got in kind of the 90s where you had the guys that were down and kind of had that, drawl. But this guy sounds like a throwback.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about him.
Kenny Hickey. I mean, best known for his guitar playing, backup vocals with Typo Negative. Um, if you listen to some of the newer stuff like the Silver Tomb and the Sevenfold and all of that, I mean, he can wail. He's got a set of pipes on it that, I mean, and he really, really goes into depth on how he wants to approach his vocals, if that makes sense to you. Like, I mean, he'll come up, like, we had zero lyrics, but he had a melody line whenever we were jamming this song. That goes, man, I've had this melody line, I just never had anything to use it with. And literally the night before, in the morning that he sang the vocals, he was he was writing the lyrics, but he already had when once the music was down, we yeah, he was sitting there like kind of humming melody and all while we were writing it. And then him and Kirk sat down, and I mean, they worked out some of the vocal harmonies and all that they have on that. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely a natural progression that when we went into it, we didn't know what the hell it was going to sound like, to be honest. We had a couple of parts, and we sat in a room and worked it out, and then we recorded. We actually flew into Gainesville, or actually Orlando. Johnny flew into Gainesville. We sat in a room for about 5 hours, 6 hours, got the basics of the song, and then went to Gainesville and to Roger Lima's studio, which, I mean, he's the vocalist, bass player for Less Than Jake, and great, great, great musical mind. Um, yeah, and then we just laid it down, and I mean, we put the drums down, and then Johnny had to leave, so he didn't even hear the finish. Basically, what was finished until we were done with it.
I love that. And, again, um, I can't, like, you can hear little things here and there, but compared to a lot of music, I guess, or new music, if there is new music that's coming out these days, it definitely, if I say sticks out like a sore thumb, I mean that in a good way, because it's kind of like it's riffy. Humans, you could tell, are playing it, as opposed to some of the things that you're getting nowadays, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, and while we were sitting there, I was like, you you hear this, and you sit there and you can tap your foot to it, and I mean, once you hear it, it kind of like sticks in your head, the way you find yourself humming it and stuff like that throughout the day. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of like a lost art, I think, with music. Where a lot of it's so complicated, a lot of the stuff these days, to where it just kind of goes over a lot of people's heads what's actually going on. You know.
Amen. We're going to take a little break here with my new friend Todd Strange. We're going to pay some bills, and we're going to be back, guys, after this. So, kids, welcome back to Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk, here with Todd Strange with this wonderful band, I Am. I didn't even ask you, and we were trying to figure out this interview, and it's like, where do you reside? What part of the world do you live in, Todd?
Well, I'm from New Orleans, but I've been living in Texas for about the last 6 years. I live in the north, I guess the northeast corner of Texas, around by Paris, Texas, in a little town called Honey Grove.
So, again, you guys, it's like the old wrestling thing, from parts unknown. I mean, you guys are like from parts, no, but you're from all over the place. Just talk about, I guess, the geography of what it takes to get you guys together. Where does everybody reside? How does that work?
Uh, well, you got actually Johnny lives probably an hour and 40 minutes west of me. He lives in Texas now. He's from Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure they all from. Kenny still lives in New York, and Kirk lives in New Orleans.
So
So I
that's
mean,
I mean that to get you guys to and I love what you're saying in the first segment about how you recorded the album or sorry the song. Did when you guys got together, had you heard any of it beforehand, or you heard a little bit of it and got
no,
together and kind of put it together?
no. I mean, basically, Kenny had a couple of parts, and I think he sent Kirk a couple of the parts, and then Kirk wrote a part off of some of Kenny's parts. But I think we even changed that when we were in the room. And basically, the opening riff, I mean, we had it, and Johnny's like, well, I mean, I kind of hear this really driving like Sly and the Family Stone kind of thing. I was like, all right. He said, so try to do the bass. I was like, all right. So I laid down the bass like that, and it worked. So I mean, just that driving opening bass lick. So I mean,
Well, and so for my musician friends, and I am one, and I've recorded in the studio a number of times, but um, to be able to record like that, because everybody knows playing live versus playing in the studio. You think that maybe you're really something. Then you get in the studio and stuff gets recorded, and you go like, "Yeah, that's not what I thought it was going to sound like at all." It can be a very, very tough, humbling kind of experience. Um, from the time you said you spent 5 hours putting that together, you went to the other studio in Gainesville. How long did it take you guys to craft that song, start to finish?
so we actually spent a day. I think it was 2 days in the studio actually recording. First day was basically we got basically the drums and all that. We got them down. So, and at the time, I mean, I guess we were all kind of working on how we were gonna do our parts or whatever. But yeah. So I mean, it was like literally like 4 days maybe to writing it to recording it.
And you've heard things of people putting albums together of anything from 4 days to 4 years for an entire album, but 4 days for a single song is actually pretty quick. What in
Well,
terms
you
of the
don't have
go?
time to overthink anything either. So
Well,
you
that's
kind of like
beautiful though.
lay that you kind of lay it down, and it is what it is. Like I said, the ending of the song, Johnny recorded, 4 or 5 different drum ways, and we kind of picked from the 4 or 5 different endings that Johnny did to try to kind of make the ending of the song. And then he'd come in and say, oh, I don't like that, or okay, when copies of it or whatever. Kind of change a few little things up in the end, but the basic meat and potatoes.
And I think we might have had Todd freeze here. Um, so we're going to. Are you there, Todd? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
There
I
we
hear
go.
you.
Right on. No, we just had a little bit of an internet glitch. God love the modern technology. So you got the song in the bag now. What are the plans going forward? More songs, complete, album, EP. You gonna go out and play this some stuff live? What are the plans?
There you go.
Hey
Can you
there.
hear me?
I can, yeah. Um, I
Oh,
don't know if you heard the last question.
no.
So basically, you got the song in the bag now. What are
Uh-huh.
the plans going forward? Are you guys going to do some more? Are you going to try to play some shows? What's the plan?
Actually, at this point, we are all gonna be in New Orleans the end of June to do some more recording, writing and recording. And I don't know how many songs we're gonna get out of this, but it's like 10 days we're gonna be together this time. So in between, like I think European tours for Crowbar because they're constantly touring. Then Johnny with the Quiet Riot stuff, he's pretty busy too. So
Yeah, and I should add that your folks are they are doing different things. You're playing, I guess, you're still playing in Crowbar.
No,
You're not, okay.
no. I'm on a farm.
Well, and you got to do what you got to do. But I did know that Johnny was doing the. Is he doing the Quiet Riot stuff? I guess full go right now.
Yeah, as far as I know. Yep. I
Right
mean,
on.
just about every weekend. I mean, he's flying somewhere to go do shows. So,
Well, and filling
I
in
mean,
for a guy that
what's that? I'm
filling in
sorry.
for a guy that I grew up idolizing, Frankie Benali. So those are some. That's a great gig for him to have. Um, so here we go. I guess, the last question I'll ask, and some people go, oh, that you don't have the answer, but where do my folks find this tune? Where are they going to find out more about this project, and where are they going to be able to keep their eye on you guys to see what's up going forward?
Well, it is gonna be like premiered on the June 2nd with Revolver, and then it'll be out on all available streaming or whatever on June 2nd. This one song.
And you guys are on it. We can find you on Facebook, and I'm going to give you the address in case you don't have it handy, sir. It is Facebook/I am band for all those
Yes,
folks that
sir.
love Facebook.
Or corpsepaintrecords.com.
So just before we wrap, tell me a little bit about that album, because I mean albums are kind of I actually work with an album, and the way that the music business is now, it's a lot different, right? I mean, it's
Right.
gone are the days of, hey, here's your $500,000 advance, go nuts, and whatever. Those days are gone. But talk to me about this label a little bit.
Well, I mean, the label is just a little independent label which our friend started. So, I mean, it was kind of to help him out, but I mean, it seems like it's helping us out more than it's helping him. But
Well,
no, I mean, it's just really what it is. I mean, it's good friends, and he was lucky enough to know all of us, and we are lucky enough to know him, and we're getting this thing out basically. So
well, I mean, the best relationships in music are the symbiotic ones where, everybody wins, right? They seem to be the ones that push everything forward the most. Look, sir, I want to, it's nice to finally meet you. I know we've been going back and forth a little bit, and I know it took us a little while to
oh
get
yeah.
this one down. I lost my voice. I mean, I woke up and I had nothing. And I don't even sing, which is very weird, but I want to thank you for this, and
Well, thank you.
best of luck going forward. I love the tune. Um, is it all right to share it with some people after the 2nd of June?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
I have somebody that I work with that I always like to share the stuff with them. We don't always like the same things, and I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't consider this tune necessarily something that I would source out, but when I heard it, I got it right away. I thought it was fantastic. It's
Right.
just with that kind of dark sound with a really, I'll say, a pleasant sounding singer. Great tune, my man.
Thank you.
Todd Strange. The band is I Am, and look for them June 1st. And hey, don't forget to
Second.
subscribe. Oh, sorry, June 2nd. That's right. We don't want to jump
Yes.
the gun. Thank you, Todd. See, I was just making sure that you're on the ball, my friend. And you
Oh
were.
yeah, I'm here.
All
I'm
right.
paying
Thanks a lot.
attention.
Tune in,
Thank you.
guys. Peace out.